Now do that. Cha-cha.
The children! Dog's barking. What's going on, guys? My name is Ryan Snod. It rhymes with odd, and welcome to video 2 in this series where we're going to break down the before and after transformations of the commercial space. As you can see, we are joined with my co-host today, Paige Snod.
It rhymes with odd.
There you go. She's getting the hang of it. So she is my wife, and she's also the brainchild that designed this whole place. This used to be a hair salon. So Paige, welcome to the video.
Thank you.
Let's give people like just the general, like, what did you think of when we first came in here, and how did it kind of change from when we first got in here versus later?
Well, to be honest, when we first got in here, I wasn't a huge fan. I couldn't picture it right away. It was just a blank slate. It had foam wall in the podcast room that was pink with a curtain over it. And it smelled like an old lady in here. Because I couldn't see it at first, which is really weird because normally I can see it and he can't.
Very cool. So let's give the folks a run through from when you walk in the front. That we mentioned this used to be a hair salon. So there were holes in the floor where there was
old plumbing
from the soap or the sinks.
Shampoo
bowls. Since she's a hairstylist by trade, it's kind of funny this was a hair salon. But maybe walk people through what this main area that we're in right now was when we first got into it.
So the main area before, I think, was their waiting area. I'm not completely sure. And then as we round the corner over here, they had a couple chairs and then a couple shampoo bowls across it. And like Ryan said, there was holes in the wall and the floor wasn't in where those shampoo bowls were. So we're kind of like, okay, crap, what are we going to do with that? Luckily, they had extra flooring so we could get that patched in. So right away, we both could picture having his desk space in the first corner of the L so he could get nice bright light, still look outside, didn't feel like he was stuck in a cave. And then we wanted this kind of little waiting area that he could also make videos. Yeah, and then we kind of evolved it to, in the future, having a space for if somebody else wants to office here with him, then we kind of created another space that they can have a desk and their own space and not be right next to him. So he would have his own space, they can have their own space, and still feel like there's plenty of room.
And then we have this little nook over here, my whiskey corner and shelving area. Kind of explain what that was all about.
Yeah, so once I could visualize the space and kind of start picturing what I wanted the space to look like for him, I visualized a bar cart. And he did not like that I randomly wanted to put a bar cart in his office because he's like, when am I just going to drink by myself in my office? And for me, I was like, no, it's design aesthetic. Like, it's a man thing to have whiskey in your office. So now he has a bar cart and he started a small collection of whiskey. It's mostly at home. He had a chair in his previous office that was kind of that cognac brown, kind of a lighter version of like the couch that I could visualize in that corner. And then I made my own custom floating shelves because I could just visualize some cool shelving, and it was just easier for me to make them than try to find them and buy them. Plus, it was cheaper.
And you went black with everything. Why black, and why did that kind of spin off there?
And it just adds a cool edge to it that isn't normal because, I mean, it's a man's office.
Sure.
You're not going to have white and bright and flowers and shit. Yeah, we have some greenery that I've added my own touch to, but sometimes you need that just for the contrast. The cognac brown couch and pop of green, and that's what I was just kind of picturing, and we were looking at a few things, but I already collected this whole like Pinterest board of what I was visualizing for the space, and he was just like, I want it to look like me. It has to look like me. And I'm like, don't you worry, buddy. And I showed him my Pinterest board, and he was like, oh.
I feel comfortable when I come in. Like, I feel like it's my feeling of what I wanted. So that was important too, she had the design, but I was also like functionality wise, like what parts of the places I wanted to use it for. And then in terms of this main space, kind of wrapping this up, you did an accent wall behind my office wall, and then went in and puttied. I did a little work on that too. wasn't all just Paige. I helped Putty and Phil there. So all the screw ups, I can claim those as my own.
Yeah, so I liked the vertical boards. I wanted the wall behind his desk to have detail but not take away, because I knew he would be doing Zoom meetings or maybe even making his own videos from his desk. So the whole point of this main space is I wanted him to have multiple locations that he could film a video, whether it was at his desk, whether it was here on the couch, or in this other part of the L that he'll show you, with like the whiskey corner. So if he wanted to sit in the chair and be more casual, he could go in the whiskey corner, or on this other wall that we'll show you.
It's over here for this camera, over there, that way.
It's over there.
Yeah.
It just kind of randomly popped in my head because this wall is just a long, boring wall. It just has this window behind us and then it's nothing. And so I was like, I really want to do the vertical boards on this opposite wall because then it will tie in with the boards behind his desk. Yeah.
Moving down the hallway, there was a massage room that had, as Paige mentioned, foam core wall and a curtain over it. So it was really weird. There was tile on the floor, bubblegum blue. What was kind of walls, the vision? Because I know with me, like a big part of this space, me getting a space was having a podcast studio, because I have clients that I have to go to every week or so and go to them. So I'll make a full video on that of like why that's an important part of the business now. But how did we kind of transition that into a podcast studio?
That room was a hot mess. It was a hot mess. Just thinking back, I forgot about the tile on the floor and the blue wall. They had foam on the wall for like soundproofing, which obviously with being a podcast room, we needed soundproofing. And so we're like, oh, okay, we can use the foam. But it was weird because it was on the outside of a wall. So I had to whip out some carpentry skills. I built out that wall a little bit to make it flush so we wouldn't have to redo electrical behind the wall. I just created my own wall to put that electrical behind. I did have some help from my dad with that, so thank you, Dad. So that was a whole thing in itself that took quite a while of just rebuilding that wall, and then I actually used that foam as soundproofing behind that wall that I built. So then the wall between this open space and the podcast room is like super soundproof, which is awesome. And then I wanted to tie in the black that's out here in the podcast room because he had shown me some podcasts that he really liked the look of what these other guys were doing. And so I kind of took bits from that, took bits from what was already in my brain that tied in with this part of the space. And we painted it all black. And then we talked about, oh, we'll do foam on just one wall. No, we did it on all of the walls. Carpet squares on the floor.
Which was a really cheap alternative to getting like legit carpet. We went to it's Menards, like our local home improvement, and it was like
$1.50 maybe a square.
A tile, and we got, 50 of them or whatever.
No, it was like 24 of them or something. But
and she did all the like X-Acto knife cutting, and we just had enough to cover it.
Yeah.
And that does definitely, like, you'll notice here in a bit when we go in there, it's like more soundproofed. So
yeah, that helped tremendously because we talked about doing just a rug or getting like legit carpet installed, and we're like, well, this isn't going to be your office forever. Menards were like, carpet squares, and they were gray. So they tied in together with the black and the white. And then we have little bits of gray, like the carpet in here, the rug in here.
So that's the podcast room. I personally love that room the most out of all the spaces. Like, I think it turned out the coolest. And it's been a huge draw so far with just clients that want to come see the space, and just a different offer that, especially in Central Iowa, there's not a lot of people doing that. So even though it's only a 20 by 20 room, like it's
not even that. It's like 8 by 10.
8 by 10 room. So yeah. But then the rest of the space was kind of pretty straightforward. We had a storage room that we had
the old 70s paneling.
Yep. And then you paint it and it looks fine, black. So we painted the paneling and it looks just fine. Mm-hmm. Put a little storage shelf in there, and then around the corner we had, what was that initially when we got here?
Initially it was like their laundry room, so where they wash towels. So we kind of pictured it as more of a kitchenette area because he was going to be here all day. He needs to make lunch for himself. And in our little small town here of Granger, you have like Mexican restaurant and Casey's.
Which is a gas station.
Yeah, at a gas station. So he's like, I'm not going to have Casey's pizza every single day. So we found a cute little bar cart that fits perfect, that he can put all of his food on. And then we found a mini fridge that he has the microwave on top of. So we kind of made a utility room into a kitchenette. We had the maintenance people of the building put a little door over the furnace because it was just like in a little nook that you could see. And so it wasn't a necessity to have the door on it, but it makes it feel like more of a room instead of a utility room, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
So that's covered. And then the bathroom, we added shiplap on one wall because your girl loves shiplap. So we just did one whole wall, and that actually kind of adds some soundproofing in the bathroom too, which is nice since the bathroom is right next to the podcast room.
Last kind of final bit was they had given us a tenant improvement allowance of about $6,000 or so to fix the place up, which is basically a way that they'll give you money to kind of make it your own, but if you're adding value to the property, they'll prorate it.
Yep.
And we didn't even spend $2,000 of the $6,000 they had allotted, so we came well under budget. And
which is just cool that we could do all this
for like $1,700 to like, I mean, in terms of the actual physical changing of the space. Granted, we had like this coffee table we had in our basement already from our previous living room. We bought this couch. We bought, my new lift desk and some other items that don't actually improve the space, but we came in pretty well under budget, which I was very happy to do because I was expecting to have to fork out a ton of money extra.
Yeah, we were both more him than me, but we were both very cautious on like how much we were spending. And I love spending. That's my favorite hobby to do. I love spending money. But with it being his money or his business's money, he was like, no. And I had to.
You make me sound like Gollum from The Lord of the Rings. My precious.
No, this plant, I had to be like, Ryan, this is going to look cool as shit behind your desk and videos. And he's like, but it's so big. And it goes. I'm like, I don't care. We're getting this damn plant. You know what? He loves this damn plant.
It's a very nice plant.
It's a fake plant, but it's hard to get him to spend things on design stuff to make the space work. Because if it was up to him, there would be no plants. There would be no shelf like in the corner over there. And there would be no whiskey corner with cool floating shelves. But I'm like, it's those little things of design that's my favorite thing to do. And it just makes the space, because he's very minimalistic, which is fine. I can do minimalistic, but you can still do minimalistic with a plant.
There you go. Well, if you guys want to see more design stuff, make sure to follow her on probably TikTok, Instagram. Where do you post all your...
Both.
Probably, I would say TikTok. Even she has her first video went kind of viral. It's like 30,000 views.
Oh, of our bedroom. Yeah.
Bedroom transformation. So all home improvement stuff. Check that out. Any final thoughts about the space? So we started in February. It is
June, almost July.
So like 6 months or 4 months or so.
But we have a 1-year-old. We have full-time jobs, and we have another baby coming. So your girl's busy, okay?
Yeah, lots of stuff.
Because I'm the handyman. I do, like, Ryan could do the basic painting, and he could do a few things here or there. But if I can't be here to do it, then it doesn't get done. So
yeah,
it's almost there.
Yeah. So thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one. My name's Ryan Snod. This is Paige Snod.
And Ryan Snod.
Peace.